Oregon's 82nd legislative session began this past Tuesday, and this session will be busy with hundreds of bills to consider and Oregonians looking to the state to help get us out of a persistent homeless crisis. There's also new leadership in Salem, a new governor, a new Senate president, and our first guest today, House Speaker Dan Rayfield of Corvallis. Rayfield, who replaced now Governor Tina Kotek as House Speaker, was reelected as Speaker of the House before this session began. He's a graduate of Tigard High School, Western Oregon University, Willamette University School of Law, and he's an attorney. Speaker Rayfield, welcome back to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How long do you expect this legislative session to last?
Well, our main focuses, and I think you mentioned this, are making sure that we address our housing and homelessness crisis. We want to strengthen our education programs. Outcomes are critical, especially someone like myself who's a parent, like many of us are. And then the other thing for us is really improving our behavioral health system. And there's a lot of work to be done there. That's going to take time. Constitutionally, we're required to adjourn at the end of June. And so I'd expect some time around there. But really, the hope is that once we get all of our work done on those big issues, that's when we would conclude the session.
How many bills are being considered during this session?
You will have more than 1,000 bills that will come winding their way through the legislative process, and more periodically as the session moves on, people will start filing new bills. I think the one thing, and what I tell to the viewers, right, is in your communities, when you see a legislative session start to occur, there's those things that are going on for you in your community. It's like, hey, we can make this better. And then people start connecting with their legislators. And from now and until a couple weeks, we'll have some more bills introduced.
We had Senate President Rob Wagner on the program last week, and he confirmed homelessness, affordable housing will be a top priority this session. What bills have you seen that could address those issues, or what direction do you think will go on that front?
So in the House, one of the things that we have talked about, and we mentioned this on opening day, is we are committed to securing investments for our housing crisis within the first 60 days of the session. And those are really going to be focused on the immediacy within our housing. So think about the prevention side, preventing people from becoming houseless, taking care of the folks that are houseless, now getting them sheltered. So you have these immediacy actions. This is a problem that is of the size where it's going to take collaboration between all levels of government, from the government all the way down to our cities. And so you'll see that move very early on. The bigger conversation that will continue to develop throughout the session is going to be on supply. Here in Oregon, we are underbuilt by more than 100,000 homes. That can't continue if we're going to work our way out of this. So you'll see a big conversation on supply as well during the legislative session.
We've also got a mental health crisis in the state, and not enough places for people who need that kind of help. Will the legislature address this?
Absolutely. During the last 2 years, we invested more than $1 billion of funding into our behavioral health system. We have to, number one, we have to make sure that government's delivering on its promises in this space. And part of that is making sure that those dollars are being used for their highest and best purpose. And so that conversation is going to develop. Now, some of those investments we're seeing in our communities, right? There's workforce crises that's going to take a long time to solve. There have been an increase in behavioral health rates, which will help solve that, but it's going to take some time. On the immediacy side, right, you'll see crisis respite center investments. You're going to see residential treatment facilities, and we've just started to increase the bed space. That's something we have to continue to connect folks in those really critical points in their lives to services. Another big conversation that is percolating in the legislature is 988. People are saying, what is 988? It's kind of like 911, but for behavioral health. It's that place where people in our communities can call and then get directly connected with services. And part of the package would actually fund those crisis services in every county across this state.
What is the state's budget situation now, and is there enough money to fund everything?
So during the last 2 years, and really 3 years during the pandemic, there was this big influx of federal money, right? To help us deal with the pandemic, there's infrastructure money that is still percolating through the state. That money is not going to be available in the upcoming legislative session. So it will cause us to prioritize and be very focused when we're looking at making sure we have packages for housing and homelessness, making sure we have behavioral health packages, strengthening education, kind of those areas. And the nice thing about this session, and I spent a lot of time during the campaigns reading campaign literature from Republicans, from Democrats, and everybody is focused on those same topics. And so that is this opportunity where we have unanimity on where we need to focus, and we'll need to have that unanimity to prioritize to make sure we're delivering on those topics.
There's been a lot of talk about the lack of public defenders in municipalities. What are your thoughts on that? And is there anything that can be done at the state level to increase the number of public defenders?
The real simple answer is yes, there is things we can do with this state, and we're beginning that process now. We, during the interim, and by we, the legislature, put together a group in combination with the executive branch as well as the judicial branch to have a package in the upcoming session to address this crisis. You want to think of this crisis in terms of accountability, making sure we're getting what we're paying for. You want to make sure we think about it in terms of outcomes, right? How do we improve outcomes from the attorney to the folks that they're representing? And then we have a workforce crisis. And so these are the type of topics that will be presented during the legislature. It will be an investment package. I'd also say that this is a problem that has been going on pre-pandemic. We have had this issue for a while. There have been accountability issues during the last session in 2021. We actually withheld half of their budget because as a legislature, that's our accountability mechanism. And then we allocated that money later on, and we're starting to see some good direction there, but there's a lot of work to be done, and we will be passing a package this session to improve public defense.
The Democrats no longer have a supermajority in the legislature, so anything that gets done will take Republican support. How committed are you to bipartisanship?
I always go back to, how I was raised. My dad was a Republican. My mother was a Democrat. And when we grew up, they both cared about education, right? They both cared about making sure that everybody had housing, right? Everybody wants folks to have health care. You see that in this building. Right? Nobody who comes to this building wants to have an education system that doesn't provide the outcomes that we expect. Nobody wants to have a housing or a homelessness crisis. That, again, is the focus where we try to assume good intent in each other's actions. We're going to disagree. And we should expect that. But we can do that while fostering a culture of respect, moving forward to address these issues that we all agree upon. And again, that is that unique opportunity we have this session because Democrats, Republicans are united on what are the biggest problems facing Oregon.
Speaker Rayfield, we've got about a minute left here, but I want to get to this. Before she left office, Governor Brown expressed her desire to boost Oregon's semiconductor industry. Is that still a priority?
One of the things, and I mentioned, making sure the government's delivering, one of the other big themes developing this session is seizing on the unprecedented opportunities facing our state. And semiconductors is one of those unprecedented opportunities. We have the unique ability to draw down millions of dollars into the state, which will spur economic growth. And most importantly, it will create working family jobs 10, 20, 30 years down the road. That's the opportunity we have. It is our perspective that we are going to move forward with a package to help support that and aid and with companies that want to try and apply for this money so that we can get that job growth that really will help lift generations of Oregonians out of poverty.
Oregon House Speaker Dan Rayfield, thank you for joining us on Eye on Northwest Politics and good luck during this session.
Thank you very much, Ken.